The story of my Roman fountain project is probably a typical Brussels story in that it regards hope, failure, resources in different countries, lots of stimulus from expats, and ultimate success. In 2002, I began talking to an Italian club here in Brussels about sponsoring a photography show at the European Parliament. As 2003 was to be the International Year of Fresh Water, they requested me to take photos in Italy using water as my theme. Of all my photos, the Roman fountains were the best. Well, the show never came to fruition, but after a year of work and so many gorgeous photos, I just couldn't let the project die. So I approached Temple University in Rome, where I had spent my junior years as an art history major, and I asked them to host the show. They said yes, providing I had an exhibition partner. I immediately envisioned an architect working on a modern fountain. Happily, I found Maria Cristina Tullio, who was building a new fountain and square in the periphery of Rome. After 2 more years and lots of hard work, we finally had our show together at the Temple Gallery. I presented photos of the historical fountains in Rome, and Maria Cristina illustrated her project for the fountain and square. In other words, we covered the entire history of Roman fountain building from past to present. We also each wrote didactic explanations. I concentrated on how fountains evolved from simple devices conceived to distribute clean water to marvelous elaborate works of art. And Maria Cristina focused on how she revitalized an ancient aqueduct and incorporated it into a modern square. Most of all, her new fountain established an element of harmonization with the historical fountains in Center City. Maria Cristina's fountain was inaugurated in 2006 by the mayor of Rome, and I was lucky enough to have shared the stage and to have photographed the event. Then later in 2008, Maria Cristina also used my photos to present her project at the Biennial of Landscape Architecture in Barcelona. The story doesn't end there, though. Back in Brussels, I continued to develop my fountain project. The great thing about this city is personal contact. I'm a member of Viewfinder's Photography Club, where I find the tools and the encouragement to improve my visual and technical skills. Observing the speakers at the British Decorative and Fine Arts Society, I learned how to apply photography to my academic interest to create slide lectures which are accessible and enjoyable to the public. As a member of the Foreign Academic Researchers of Belgium, I get feedback on my research and its applications. For instance, I'm here with you today thanks to the fact that you asked them for help to find an American researcher. While it is true that the fountains of Rome, is not exactly a new topic, I've organized my research in an original way. Fountain building is a minor art form, which is usually treated as an element of urban planning. Thus, the chronology follows the order in which the ancient aqueducts were restored. I instead have organized the fountains according to date of construction. In other words, I've arranged them on a stylistic basis so that my audience can appreciate them from an artistic point of view. For example, this is a rather simple fountain. It is a Renaissance fountain because it is freestanding, geometrical, and has gargoyles. Baroque fountains instead are more intricate and feature human figures. A typical villa fountain of the epoch is even more fanciful because it has the figures and landscape elements and uses a woodland theme. At long last, the post-unification fountain breaks with the tradition of highly detailed work and marks a first step towards 20th century minimalistic design. There were many styles within the 20th century, but the fascist era was particularly interesting for its strangely austere and static fountains. Then finally, the modern fountain completely loses the purpose to distribute clean water and becomes a purely decorative element.